Hi guys, it's Granny Tana speaking. Welcome to this FS25 Highland fishing info video. In this video I'll show you all the rundown chats from this map Kinloch that are available with the Highland fishing expansion and that nobody has spoken about, or nobody that I know of has spoken about those chats, and they are great. I will call them Scottish sheds. I don't know, or I don't think that they are typical Scottish. They are just rather old, and they look like an weathered farm shed, so to say, and therefore I think they aren't typical Scottish sheds, but as they come on a Scottish map, I think that name is nicer than to call them rundown sheds, and therefore I will title this video Scottish Sheds. And so let's go to the build menu, and I already showed you the luxurious Herman sheds and halls that come with a pack, and those sheds here are the opposite. They are not new and they are not luxurious, but they are quite useful and not so expensive, and they give a really nice feeling of this older farm that is not in a perfect new state, very expensive and fancy, but more like you got this farm from your grandfather or so. Let's just start with the first one. It's 12,000 bucks, and it's an open shed. You could even call it shelter, and yeah, I find it very useful. Later we will go and walk to it and have a closer look, and you can use it as a drive-through shed for all kinds of stuff. Not the really huge ones, but the small and medium sized stuff. And here for 15,500 bucks we have a similar one, but that one has a back wall. Let's adjust it. It's a little bit smaller to width-wise, but it has an additional area at the back that makes it very interesting for other purposes. So, and here we have one. Let's see where I place this one. First I check for the size of that one, because I want that one here. Okay, now I know approximately where to place that one. This one comes for 48,000 bucks. It's part of the main farm, and I think it looks very interesting, but I wonder how to use it. Okay, you can drive your vehicles inside. That's not so difficult, but how to make a good use of this place that this shed offers you? That's my question. But we will go down there, and then I will tell you why I wonder about the usefulness of that. And here we have a closed shed, and this is a little bit fancy, or maybe fancy is the wrong word, a little bit special, because you can't turn it in odd angles, just only 90-degree angles. And therefore I think you can use it as a shed for putting maybe your onions, your potatoes, and all this kind of heap stuff into it, and it wouldn't spill out of the sides. And so they sell it for vehicles and tools, but I think you could use it to store all the bulk stuff if you want such a place for bulk. Okay, I place it here. And then we have one that is another open shed, rather similar to this one here. Searching for the angle. This is open, but as you can see from above, it's wider and longer. So it's just the big brother of the green one, and it has a different roof. And the typical use is rather similar. Those open sheds are very good for trailers and such, because if you place them in a place where you can reach them from the back and the front, you can use it for driving through, and so it's easy to store your trailers there. And you just come from the back and drive through it and then detach it, and they are perfectly stored in this shed. So, and then we have another one that is closed. I hope I can fit it beside those two. Yeah, it can fit. And this is similar to the right one. And it looks a little bit different. And it has the door in the center. But other than that, it's rather similar. It also has this 90-degree placement thingy. So I think you could use it for bulk stuff. And it's a little bit smaller. So I think it's just an alternative to that one. And then we have one that I consider very useful again. And this has a built-in garage, or a workshop. It's a garage with a workshop. And you can use it to repair your vehicles. And it has a lot of space to store all your stuff. And it is open from the side, or it is the front. But you have a lot of openings for that. And that makes it very useful in my opinion. So I placed the sheds that I find most useful here in the first row, and then that one. And the other ones are, I know some people like closed halls, and therefore those are good. I would prefer closed halls with a door at the side, then it's easier to enter and to navigate. But those halls with a gate at the narrow side are rather common. So I guess the real life farmers like this type of shed, and I also think then a lot of players might like them. Yeah, therefore they have their use and they have their fence, and that one looks interesting. So let's go and have a direct look at those. This here is rather small and not very wide in this direction. So you could put a small trailer inside, but it's big enough for sewing machines, fertilizer spreader, all this kind of stuff. And I think it's good for most tractors. So I consider this shed as very useful, and it doesn't take a lot of space, so you can squeeze it just in a corner of your farm, even beside a building. So if you want to have that, for example, you could squeeze it along the side of this building and have another shed. So this and the other open one, they are my favorite. But this is just my personal taste and play style. And if you have a different taste and a different play style, then it's completely okay. So it's not needed to follow my my preferences. And I'm very happy that they provided sheds and halls for different play styles. Yeah, so we can just take that one. This is not higher, but it's rather wide, so I guess you can fit inside even combines, but not with header, without the header. Or you can have very, very long trailers here, or two small trailers behind each other. So this is nice and very useful shed. And this one is a little bit special. We have this on the main farm, and the combine is parked like that, and with the header in the back on the header trailer. And for me, that's not interesting to park a combine like that, but it fits. And yeah, and I would use it to store like a fertilizer spreader and some seed bags and a front loader and maybe a small sewing machine and all this kind of stuff in this back area. And then in the front area is still enough place to put all my tractors also, or a normal trailer or such. So I think that is a very useful shed. And it has a double use through this back area. You can use it for stacked things. And then we have that one. And here is the workshop. And you could even put a rather big combine inside if you so wish. And so if you only use your workshop very seldom, you could use this area for storage as well. If not, if you like to have your workshop always accessible, then don't put something here permanently. And here it's a large open shed that I find very useful. And yeah, a little bit like the last one, you could stack the object, so you could put some things that you don't use so often here in the back row, and then make another row, and then you could even have large trailers and such, but trailers that you are able to navigate backwards. So I couldn't use it for a swivel axle trailer. For that I would use the open ones. But I heard there are people who can use swivel axles, so yeah, it's possible. And here we have those halls with the gates at the narrow side. And yeah, as I already said, as far as I know, they are built a lot in reality and they are used by a lot of players. I usually don't use them because for my abilities and playstyle they are more or less impracticable. And yeah, but other people can drive better than me, and then you can place a lot of stuff inside. And this one has this decoration in the end. It's just decorative, but nice. I like it. And here, this one has the gate at the left side. So this area is bigger. You could, if you are good with driving back and forth and navigating, you could put a lot of stuff just here, one beside the other, or those fertilizer spreaders and such, and then drive around here to get this stuff. And then if you have a small tractor and very good driving abilities, you can attach to the stuff and get it out and leave this garage. Yeah. And you could use both of those halls for bulk stuff. At least I guess that you could use it, because they have this limitation of the 90-degree angle placement. And yeah, that is used for bulk stuff, that it doesn't spills out to the side. And therefore I think you could store the bulk stuff here. And then we have the last one. And we have this on the main farm. And it's a nice, huge shed. And I don't really know what to make out of it somehow. So you couldn't drive in this direction. You can walk, but not drive, because it's not high enough. You can only drive lengthwise. And here it has a big gate. And I don't really understand, why does it have a gate when it's completely open otherwise? But maybe this is the area where people can see, or that is close to the road, and then you close it up. And maybe there are good reasons for that. And yeah, to store the vehicles, this has the same problems than the halls. It's only for good drivers. And if there wouldn't be all those posts, or if these things that go from here to there and they are too low, if they wouldn't be there, or let's say higher, at 4 meters height, then it would be much easier to drive around. So you could store your equipment here, like so, and then you can drive with your tractor like so. It could be very useful. But no, they have this blockage here. So I must admit, I don't like this shed. It looks interesting, and at first glance I thought, wow, this is a nice huge shed. And then I came here and thought, how to use it? And yeah, there are several aspects that I don't like. But I'm sure there are players who say, oh, this is just the perfect shed. That is what I was always looking for. And therefore it's good that it's in the game. And I got 4 sheds in this group that I really, really like. And I think that's more than enough. Especially if you think they haven't advertised those sheds at all. And yeah, even the Hermann halls came they just were there silently in this pack. And yeah, those sheds too. And we have a lot of more buildings that I will show to you in other videos and that are really worth mentioning and showing off. And those Scottish sheds are not my least favorite of the buildings. I really appreciate them. And maybe you have seen my farm build on this lot here. And I used several of those sheds because in a way they are fantastic. They have so much atmosphere, telling a story of an old farm, and therefore I really, really like them. Okay, that's about the Scottish sheds of the Highland Fishing DLC. Thank you for your support as a Ruby channel member. If you want to buy FS25 or a DLC, feel free to use my code OMATANA. You'll find the link for the PC version in the video description. It doesn't cost you anything extra and supports me a lot. Now I wish you a wonderful day, thank you for watching and all the best till next time. Tschüss!